The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic is an underrated gem from last season. It builds on what the Saint's magic power is omnipotent achieved and takes a refreshing step forward from the typical Isekai fantasy. It does not deconstruct tropes, just adds a dash of humor, tweaks it a little, and surprises the audience. It even has a Pokemon parody. We start off with a pretty familiar premise. Two students get summoned to a fantasy world and a third one gets accidentally dragged in. We think no one will recognize how special he is, but he will turn out to be OP. But surprise, surprise, they actually know how powerful he is and want to protect him from Rose, the Tommy Mommy, who will drag him through hell to train him up. They know how special he is, but want him to enjoy a quiet life because they are just that good. The first few episodes do follow some well-trodden isekai tropes. The fish out of water dynamic, introducing the world and its lore, that kind of thing. And with the title like The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic, you might expect this to be as generic as, say, Berserk of Gluttony. But by the time the first episode ends, you're already looking forward to the next one. You see all those familiar isekai tropes, but realize they have been iterated upon in really fresh ways, and the dash of comedy balances perfectly with deeper world building and character exploration. And the animation is amazing. It just keeps getting better with each episode. The fight against a hand-drawn giant poisonous snake is among the most captivating action sequences in modern anime. One of the more refreshing aspects is how it portrays the isekai heroes themselves. Suzane and Kazuki aren't ridiculously overpowered chosen ones. They are just regular students thrust into an unimaginable situation. They are brave, but also realistically afraid at times, wanting to do the right thing, but unsure if they are up to the task. And they cannot win the war by themselves. This grounded human portrayal makes their struggle feel so much more impactful. They never flip a switch and become badass. They simply grow into their roles, like you would expect of real people. And the same goes for the kingdom they are aiding. King Linger is one of the more capable and pragmatic kings I have seen in anime. He wants to win the war, but he's not just using the heroes as disposable pawns. He genuinely cares about doing the moral thing. Usato's powers seem weak compared to the typical isekai hero, but under the brutal tutelage of the legendary Rose, Usato trains to become, in the words of a demon, an inhuman human. His muscles get torn and healed every second, and he gets a beefed up body in a matter of days. It is such an obvious way to use healing magic that you wonder why no one else does it. Of course, we know why. Who has the mana to heal so quickly for so long? Also, not all healers can heal themselves. He is not ridiculously overpowered by any means, but he becomes surprisingly capable, strong enough to contribute meaningfully while still having flaws and room to grow further. It's such an appealing middle ground between strong and overpowered. Speaking of Rose, she is an absolute scene stealer. This grizzled, foul-mouthed veteran is hilariously opposite to what you would expect from a healer. Yet, she is also deeply compelling, with glimpses of the trauma that forged her intense personality. Rose is unquestionably the most overpowered character, decimating demons with a mixture of unarmed combat and incredible potent healing magic. She is a joy to watch whenever she is on screen. But this show isn't just about the core cast of heroes. It does an impressive job of fleshing out the world and giving depth to side characters. While we spend a lot of time with Usato's group, we also learn about figures like the kind-hearted Commander Bloren and get hints about the Demon King's motivations. The world expands at just the right pace, giving you enough to feel immersed and understand the stakes of the war, while still keeping an air of mystery about certain details being saved for later. The season balances lower key atmospheric world building segments with intense action set pieces extremely well. It never feels dull or bogged down in exposition, but it also lets dramatic moments breathe without rushing through them. You see Usato being thrown into the jungle, and you are worried that he is going to kill the bear family. You think he will be scarred forever, and then it turns out that wasn't the test at all. The bear family is killed by an awesome looking poisonous snake. Single episode takes you through a plethora of emotions without ever feeling rushed. This sequence establishes that our hero is already nearly as powerful as an army, but he still does not feel OP. He was getting totally overwhelmed by the snake, and Rose had to step in to finish the villain. You see the potential, and you see the room for growth. This is something solo leveling manhwa had done beautifully, but the anime completely fails it. Also, spending nearly 2 episodes on Rose's backstory was brilliant. The show does not feel the need to rush to the battle. It is letting you know how horrible war is and the price that our heroes may need to pay. Anime usually skim on these arcs where the outcome is already known. Not here. And throughout it all, the show maintains a consistent tone, lighthearted at times but always grounded, never shying away from portraying the true horrors and psychological tolls of war. It pulls you in with great characters and world building, then hits you in the gut with reminders of how brutal their struggle really is. The wrong way to use healing magic takes the well-worn Isekai premise in a unique and compelling direction. It's a true underrated gem that more fans need to experience. And with how the season finale expanded the world even further by introducing new realms like the Beastlands, I am desperately hoping we get a second season to continue Usato's adventures.
Like, share, high five, subscribe, let our channel thrive.